said that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? Well, really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's going to say she's never heard of carbs.
What if I told you that the clash between Greg Gutfeld and Joy Behar wasn't just another TV spat, but a moment so sharp, so loaded with comedy and tension, that it instantly transformed into one of the most talked about exchanges in modern media? If you came here expecting to see exactly how Greg Gutfeld hilariously dismantled Joy Behar live on air, stay right here, because what unfolded wasn't just a roast. It was a masterclass in wit, timing, and the kind of savage takedown you rarely see delivered with this much precision. It all began with Joy Behar, a woman who has spent decades sharpening her voice into a blade that slices through conversation with ease. She's no stranger to the spotlight. From sarcastic eye rolls to quick-witted comebacks, Joy has reigned as the queen of daytime sass for years. But as every performer learns sooner or later, even the sharpest act can stumble. And on this occasion, it wasn't Joy delivering the knockout lines, it was Greg Gutfeld. Greg has a reputation of his own. He isn't the type to throw lazy insults or rely on predictable punchlines. His humor is dry, biting, and layered with precision. He can turn even the most mundane situation into comedy gold, which makes him especially dangerous when he decides to set his sights on someone. And on this day, that someone was Joy. It started with a dismissive swipe, Joy acting as though she didn't even know who Greg was. "Who is he?" "Really, who is he?" she said, waving him off like a fly at a picnic. On the surface, it seemed like a classic Joy Behar tactic: brush aside the opponent, diminish their importance, and move the conversation along. But Greg wasn't having it. To him, Joy's denial wasn't just flimsy, it was laughable. He fired back with humor so sharp it could have been etched into steel, mocking the very idea that she didn't know him. The audience felt the shift instantly. The casual back and forth had just turned into a one-sided demolition.
Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch and Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar's moo-moo. The motives stink worse than Joy Behar's jog bra. I mean, assuming she jogs.
What made it sting wasn't only the words themselves, but how Greg delivered them. Calm, collected, and with the confidence of someone who knew he had the upper hand. He didn't raise his voice, didn't flail with anger. Instead, he leaned into humor, crafting one-liners that landed harder than any angry retort ever could. He painted Joy as a caricature of herself, someone clinging to old tricks while her defenses crumbled in real time. Then came the moment that took things from playful roast to public unraveling. Joy had recently made comments about Elon Musk, accusing him of holding extreme views, only to backpedal later when legal heat seemed possible. Greg pounced on this like a hawk spotting prey. He joked that Musk's lawyers weren't even sure if it was legal to sue a cow, a line that sent his audience roaring and left Joy scrambling.
And last week, Joy Behar accused Elon Musk of being pro-apartheid, but then begged him afterwards not to sue. Musk lawyers have yet to comment because they're still checking to see if it's legal to sue a cow.
Shots fired.
Just a legal question. I don't know why it's so upsetting. I don't make the rules in this country.
It wasn't just a jab. It was a calculated strike at her credibility, delivered with flawless comedic timing. And the hits didn't stop there. Greg shifted focus to Joy's long-standing reputation as a cultural commentator. He compared her show to a carnival sideshow, a bizarre display where political oddities replace circus acts.
It's about the view. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. You know, it's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows, Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You know, how can you now speak the truth when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest.
His analogies were merciless yet vivid, conjuring up imagery that stuck in people's minds long after the laughter faded. Joy, usually quick with a counterattack, had nothing. For once, the Queen of Sass was cornered. Her usual spark dimmed under the weight of Greg's relentless wit.
Now to some news. The feral monsters of The View say they've never heard of you-know-who. True, the show that makes mornings hell claim that my name doesn't ring a bell. It's time for...
Our view on The View. Ugh.
Yeah, the witch's coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently the broads have no idea who I am, or so they say. Hit it, Gladys!
Things escalated further when Joy's comments about Senator Tim Scott resurfaced. She had suggested he didn't understand systemic racism, sparking backlash. Greg seized this opportunity like a seasoned fighter spotting the perfect opening. He dismantled her position line by line, pointing out contradictions and hypocrisy, all while keeping the humor flowing. His delivery was almost surgical, every joke sharpened into a scalpel cutting deeper into her public persona.
Terrible! Republican presidential candidate Tim Scott dropped by the Furry Five earlier today. And I thought the U.S. had a distinct policy against torture. He took the opportunity to call them out over crap Joy Behar recently said about him, specifically that he doesn't get systemic racism, which is like saying Brian Stelter doesn't get Ben & Jerry's. But Joy Behar gets racism after all. She's been black on Halloween.
The brilliance of Greg's performance was that it wasn't just comedy. It was commentary wrapped in humor, exposing flaws in Joy's arguments without ever sounding heavy-handed. He didn't lecture, he entertained, and in doing so, he turned Joy's own words into ammunition against her. Joy, meanwhile, began to show cracks. Normally unshakable, she faltered under the pressure. Her sharp comebacks vanished, replaced by silence and strained expressions. For viewers who had watched her dominate countless debates, seeing her caught off guard was almost surreal.
Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
It was as though the indestructible facade had finally fractured, revealing the toll of living constantly in the public eye. But what made the moment truly unforgettable was how human it was. Joy's breakdown wasn't just about losing an argument. It was about the immense pressure of constantly being on, of needing to uphold an image of invincibility. For a fleeting second, the cameras captured vulnerability, an unguarded moment where the performance slipped and the person behind the persona came through. The fallout was immediate.
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sonny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shatter.
Clips of the exchange exploded across social media. Memes spread like wildfire. Some depicted Greg as a gladiator standing victorious in an arena, Joy as a crumbling statue collapsing under the weight of sarcasm. Others sympathized with her, praising the rare glimpse of authenticity beneath her polished exterior. The internet divided, as it always does, half celebrating Greg's takedown, half defending Joy's humanity. Meanwhile, Greg's reputation skyrocketed.
I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Those hens are always clucking. They get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, and then I get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, except on purpose. But every now and then, one of those dingbats inadvertently says something that reveals modern liberal thought so perfectly it deserves further study. You know, like a weird serpent that washed up on the beach and you want to poke it with a stick.
His performance was hailed as one of the sharpest takedowns in recent memory, a perfect example of how humor can be weaponized without descending into cruelty. Analysts dissected his lines, replaying the segment like a highlight reel of media mastery. It wasn't just a TV moment anymore, it was a cultural touchstone, a clash that revealed as much about the media landscape as it did about the two people at its center. Joy, however, wasn't let off lightly.
Tyrus, do you think it's a good strategy on the behalf of The View to pretend we don't exist when we know they know we exist?
That's a brilliant idea. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Gutfeld. I'm sorry, not ringing the bell.
Usually at the airport.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. Huh? Really? I sit next to him? Really? No, this is what elitists do who can't, like, if you don't know who someone is, how did you know to automatically hate him? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that's how fake and full of she is. Gutfeld, never heard of him. Don't like him. Why? Because why? That's why I just turned to one of my kids. Because why?
Yeah.
Because I don't know who he is. Never heard of him at all in my entire life. But why? Because I don't know. Because they are the last TV show to talk about high turnover. Mm-hmm. We've been rolling 3 steady for a long time.
Her past moments were dredged back into the spotlight. Her fiery hot takes revisited with fresh scrutiny. Critics questioned whether she had lost her edge, whether this stumble was the start of a decline. Supporters argued it was unfair to hold one vulnerable moment against her. But fair or not, the narrative was already spinning, fueled by the viral clip that no one could stop watching. Beyond the entertainment value, this showdown sparked deeper questions. How much of what we see on TV is performance, and how much is real? How long can someone in Joy's position maintain an unshakable persona without eventually cracking under the weight?
Here's Joy Behar talking about refusing to share a kidney.
I find my friends
bizarre.
with a Trump supporter. I won't give them a kidney, but I could be friends with them.
Hey, Joy, it's a kidney, not a pizza. Of course, she's kidding at first, but then she goes on to explain the moral foundation for her resentment, and it's the same one that drives all deadly ideologies.
And perhaps most importantly, where is the line between humor and cruelty in an age where every misstep becomes a meme within minutes? Greg Gutfeld's takedown of Joy Behar wasn't just funny. It was revealing. It pulled back the curtain on the exhausting performance of public life, exposing the cracks in even the most seasoned personalities. And it reminded everyone watching that words, when wielded with precision, are some of the most powerful weapons of all. As the dust settles, one thing is certain. This clash will be remembered not just as another viral moment, but as a defining example of how wit, timing, and unflinching confidence can turn the tide in live television. Joy may recover, sharpening her defenses for the next battle. Or perhaps she'll take a step back, reflecting on the high cost of constant combat in the public eye. But for now, Greg stands as the clear victor, the man who didn't just roast Joy Behar, but dismantled her with the kind of finesse that turns a feud into history. And if this is just one chapter, imagine what's coming in the next. Because in the arena of televised gladiator combat where words are weapons, Greg Gutfeld just reminded the world that he's not only a fighter, he's a master craftsman of the verbal knockout. And Joy Behar, for once, found herself on the receiving end of a blow too sharp to deflect.